I forgot as soon as I started the stream I had no drink. So, just been and grabbed one. I've actually ended up grabbing an Oshi instead of a coffee for now, for quickness. Let me just check everything's set up. I literally clicked enable on the stream and then walked off. So let me check the stream's actually working. Can I even resize this window? There we go. Morning, welcome in. Right, yeah, so TikTok's running. Audio for chat isn't pinging up. Let me fix that. That should work. Let me message on TikTok just to check that comes through. Where do I do that? Right, so TikTok chat's up. It just doesn't integrate with the chat as per usual. Yeah, I was just about to start doing the recap on the Amiga, and then forgot I did say I was going to do the recap on stream. So I don't have much time. It's going to be a nice short stream again. Just me recapping. Not much to show you. Not that interesting, but I figured I'd just start a stream so I can have a chat at least, and you can see me doing a bit of a recap, I guess. I mean, the Amiga's that big I can barely get this in frame as well. So it's the very first one. I just removed it. So we ain't even on and working. Yeah, there we go. And what I've done is basically gone around all of these. So we can see here, I've attached the board to these kind of things here, and then gone around all of those to mark where the capacitors are. Otherwise, one of the biggest jobs you do is try to figure out where you're at, which ones you've marked. You're flipping the board all the time. So I mark them. This is, again, another thing I'm just trying out. I've marked the PCB with red chalk, just so I can see where I'm at and which ones I've swapped. And then this is just to keep it off the desk, nice and easy. Put my extractor fan on. And then we can remove them and re-add them one at a time. Any videos of tools and setup? Yeah, so we have a sub-only live, so if you member on YouTube or sub on Twitch, I go through all the stuff I use. I plan to probably make like a little list of, you know, tools I use and put them in descriptions maybe. But if you want to know specifics, just ask me and I'll kind of quickly show you. Ignore me eating. I haven't done breakfast this morning. Having some biltong because it's healthier than jerky. So I told you it was going to be a casual stream. Right, so this one is 2. Try different techniques again to remove. Let's give just, there's loads of ways you can remove caps. Flood them with extra solder. And to be honest, because these have quite bent legs, I tend to find the best way to do these is just to get your hand underneath. Warm up one leg first, give it a few seconds, and then pull out of one way, and then warm the other up, pull out the other slightly, go back to the other, and just basically slowly wiggle this thing out one leg at a time. Don't try and pull the cap out of both legs at the same time. That's now fully out of the left, and there's the right. So hard to see what I'm doing, but I'm basically just warming up this pad. So this is underneath. Warming up this pad first, and then pulling this leg, you know, like twisting it down, if that makes sense. So you're trying to physically pull that leg out a bit, and then warm the left pad, the right pad up, and then pull that leg out a bit, and then go back and forward. You can do both. At the same time, you can use tweezers, you can use hot air. There's loads of techniques. I just mess around with different techniques each time. Eating after each year, not quite as healthy as a biltong. To be honest, this is really nice. I tried it years ago, and I thought it was a bit too intense, and I liked the sweetness of jerky, but now I'm eating healthier. Your taste buds change, and to be honest, I'm really liking the biltong more than the jerky now. So to clear the holes, I'm doing my new little technique of, I don't know whether I like it yet because it's kind of sprays solder a bit, but it does clear the holes great. You can't really see so good on the Amiga because, let's see if I can move it back and zoom in a bit. It's quite a shiny board, so it's a bit hard to see, but you can see there. It's blown through. In fact, it hasn't even done the other one yet. Yeah, but it does spray. I just like this because I've got this new micro hot air station, and I found out that you could warm up the pads like this. Give it a few seconds, and then press down to just like blow the solder out. You see how it doesn't actually want to work on that large thermal mass. There goes my favourite technique. It like almost works. There we go. So it does work, just takes a little bit longer on big thermal masses, but it kind of gives a bit of a splatter. So won't matter too much because they won't stick. It blows out, but we have to clean up and that. So again, millions of techniques to do this. I just try different ones every time. What's happening here? I am just recapping an Amiga 500. So we got the Amiga 500 we fixed in the last stream. Just swapping out all the caps with new ones. Just going to be, like I say, a nice, short, casual stream because it's a bit late now. I'd normally start streaming nice and early, and it's quite late for me now. So obviously, I need to crack on with other things. But I just thought this is the first job anyway, so I'll just sit and recap while we're doing it. Evening, welcome in. What soldering iron and fume extractor, please? So the fume extractor is, I've just upgraded it. This is actually the Walla Zero Smog. It's a £1,000 one. The best one I've had. Before that, I was using this. So this is just a 2 UUL fume extractor with apparently a carbon filter on the front. So you just turn it on. You've got 2 speeds, you've got a light, and you can place it like that and work. This obviously works good, but it just blows the fumes into the room. So I've upgraded to a Zero Smog. Soldering iron, I'm currently on my Walla WD2, but I was using JBC clones until then, like I2C and Yeehaw, I call them, YIHUA. Soldering irons. All the clones of JBC are really good, to be honest. So I'd go with them, but I'm personally just using the Walla I've had for a while now. I've just put that back in. How long did it take me to learn? I've been doing the hardware on and off for years. Mostly in the last sort of 5 to 7 years is the time where I've probably done the most. I'm not sure about how much in terms of learning I've done in the last 7 years, but I'm always learning. It's like you continue to learn every day. I've even cleared this hole. Yeah, just can't get it in. There we go. So that's where we are, and then when we've done with a cap, we wipe off the red so we know we've done that area, and then we basically work our way through like this. So there's not much to explain on this job. Like I say, this will just be you kind of watching me solder. Nothing that interesting about this, but like I say, better streaming than not. I'm not making circuit boards at the minute. I'm just putting new caps on them, but I do make circuit boards. Amiga 1000, we don't currently work on them. I used to, but I had to limit how many things I was working on. So unfortunately, I don't currently, I'm just too busy, basically. We have a Discord though, discord.gg/retro6. And you might find people on there that can help you, basically. Like, that'll work on it for you, not just us. How's the time machine coming along? Yeah, I wish. Yeah, the biggest problem with these is definitely on the Amigas, they bend the legs so much. Like, they put so much bend on them. That's why I'm kind of doing this technique. See all the crinkle and bend? When they've put them through the holes, they're so bent, it's like very hard to remove it normal. That's another 22. Right, for cleaning this hole then, instead of blowing it everywhere with the micro hot air, let's just try the iron and desolder wick. That's another technique. Ever recapped an Amstrad Mega? I've done one. We used to work on pretty much everything, and like I said, I limited it recently to less in order to keep up. But yeah, I remember doing one. It's the really expensive ones, I think, isn't it? The rarer Amiga, if I'm thinking of the right one. Yeah, see, this is a terrible way. This is why I rarely use that, and I'm not sure, to be honest, if this tip's working. I've just changed to this little knife tip out my bag, and I think this is an old tip. It's not even, yeah, it's not even generating heat. Let's swap that tip. Go to my, I guess for this task, biggest one I've got. Probably this one at the minute. Let's just try that again. I'm not sure whether that's a Soldier 9 tip issue or whether we just go to probably the hot air and desolder pump's my favourite technique for clearing out holes. Let's just give this a go. To be honest, the micro hot air seems to work really good. It's easier than doing this, I think. Yeah, look, and to be honest, that pad will disappear with desolder wick because there's nothing holding it in. So there's actually nothing there. So yeah, I think I'm going to go back to the little micro hot air, to be honest. I think of all the techniques, even though it blows solder, it's pretty flawless. It just works. I've got a desolder pump as well, but that usually, well, to be honest, I've changed the nozzle size now and it works good, but I just can't stand the noise. Would you put a USB-C on a flat? We don't work on DSs, unfortunately. So one of the things we don't work on is all the DS range. We just don't like them, basically. Don't take pleasure in working on them, so we don't. Electronics, if you want to learn it, just sub to Twitch or be a member on YouTube, and I teach you how to do electronics on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. At the minute, that's the sub-only lives. PS4s, again, we don't actually really diagnose them much. PlayStations, we don't really touch anymore, bar PS1s and PS2 Slim. Pretty much all, yeah, that technique's perfect. I think that's still my favourite technique. Yeah, PS3s, PS4s, PS5s, you don't really diagnose much anymore, to be honest. I think for Amigas, my favourite's the 600, but I think it's like the least popular. We seem to get the least amount of all the Amigas. The 600 we never really see, but it's personally I like it. It's like a mini 500. There we are. So yeah, this is why I don't usually stream recaps as well. They're pretty much very simple and not much goes on, not much to show off, short of doing this. The only thing I'll do with that cap as well is flip it over, and just because the pad was missing the other side, in fact I can show you this somewhere. So we are over here. So this pad obviously came off the other side, so it's this pad here, and the other side's just an anchor but doesn't attach to anything. So when we did the desolder wick, the little baby pad on the other side disappeared, but if we reflow it this side, you can see it's obviously perfectly fine there. We'll reflow this side as well on the cap because that's a heavy ground plane. Just do a bit better job there. Yeah, I think that knife tip just wasn't big enough. Or in fact, that's, oh, this is the opposite way around. That's why we're not getting anything happening on the other one. This pad here is also non-existent this side because it doesn't connect to anything. So that's why you're not seeing any flow of solder there. Whereas if we flip the board around, you'll see that pad is the other side. So each one has had the pads lift off that are just micro. So this is the other side of the pad. This is here where it's got connection, but this one doesn't. And that can happen when you have, obviously, small pads that go nowhere on one side of a board. So they don't actually make connection anywhere. But they're not doing anything electrically because obviously they're not connected. So the fact that this pad here on this side of the leg doesn't exist doesn't matter. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just literally an anchor that side. And that's probably from pulling the cap out or using the desolder wick because the pads are as good as floating when there's nothing connecting them to the board. Caps on Xbox, yeah, we do them all the time. Done one the other day. Xbox original, mainly. We do Xbox 360 as well. Oh, none left. Right, and that's that one. So all the red's rubbed off. Move to the next one here. So I think we got the technique really that I like on this board. And different boards are all different, obviously. So some recaps I just use hot air and pull them out with tweezers much quicker. Specifically on the Amigas, because the legs are so bent, this is why I like to just grab them by hand underneath. And I'll warm this one up and I'll pull, and see that leg there moving? So I'll pull him out, all the way out. Then I'll warm this leg up next, give it a few seconds, and I know then once it's molten and there's only that leg holding it in, I can pull without much fear because we know, you know, the solder's molten because they basically feel like they're permanently in still. So it's just how these legs are. And like I say, all boards are different. So, and then to get that off, we use the micro hot air. This is literally the main thing that I'll use this for. This is set as well. If anybody buys these, I'm sure people are going to start buying these now. I've got this at 400C and max airspeed, and I've got a I think it's like a 1.5, 2 mil nozzle, something like that on the end. Just warm up over the pads, see them when it's sort of flowing like that. You can see the solder, and then just tap on, and it clears the hole like crazy good. So see it all go molten. Give it a second or two. Tap through, so that needed a bit longer. With it being a heavy ground plane, so we'll give this one a bit longer. Let it warm all the way through to the other side. And then go for that. There we go. So yeah, works ace. And then this cap is a 100 microfarad. I should really make a cap kit for this, considering how many of these I do. I've never bothered making a cap kit, and I probably should. 100 microfarad. 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 And flip the board over. We can go positive. In the positive, obviously making sure we do it the right way. Back around, fume extractor back over. Bit of flux. And then because we know these ground planes are quite heavy, I'm going to put some solder on. Wait a good 5 seconds. And then move away. And we know that's then flown through to the other side and kind of sucked through. So we know that's going to be a nice good joint the other side. Game Gear clean screens, they're currently out of stock. I've just made, well, I haven't just made, I made the version 4 of the clean screen like 6 months ago. Sillily, I announced it, and everybody stopped buying the V3, waiting for the V4, not realising that I'm not going to sell the V4 till we ran out of the V3. So we've just run out of the V3. Obviously quicker than I expected then, because it slowed down, and then with Christmas picked up, so we're actually completely out of stock of the clean screen now until New Year. Maybe, no, definitely New Year. I was going to say maybe before Christmas, but not a chance. That we're basically completely out of them until January, and then it'll be the V4 coming in. The V4 is actually going to be almost definitely cheaper than the V3 as well, because of how I've made it, as well as being much more powerful. That's that one. We'll go up to here now and rinse and repeat. So maybe let's see if a bit of flux helps on this as well, on the desoldering side. It will go with this leg first, the long leg. Now this is getting a bit more difficult to get my hand under because it's so far away. And I think that's the one. Yep, that's the one, because you can see if I can move that leg. The little leg moving there, so I know I've got the right one. That's that one out, and then go to this side. Warm it up, and this is a ground plane again, so we'll wait for at least 5 seconds on this one. And then pull out, there we go. So yeah, I'm not super happy with that technique. I still think we can improve it slightly. What is this? Watching at 4:30 AM. We are replacing the caps on a Amiga 500. So this is the Amiga 500 here, upside down. So obviously, there's the Amiga 500. We fixed this in the last stream, and I'm just swapping all the caps out now with new ones. So not that exciting, pretty simple stream, but that's what we're doing. So you guys just get to sit and chat, really. And again, this one looks like it's one of them where the pad doesn't exist. It's just like an isolated pad going nowhere this side. That one almost seems like it's still got something stuck in it. Maybe look at the other side of the board on that one. That should be out by now. Yeah, I think there's just a flake of something stuck in that leg. Yeah, so there's that's why we can't desolder the hole. And we have, I'm pretty sure that's something. Maybe not. Let's try to clear it from this side. Yeah, clear's fine from this side, I think. flip over. Clear that little mess up first on there. Oh, pull it in focus for you. Yeah, so this side's a little bit messy looking. Yeah, so you see these annular rings on the caps, like we say, when there's nothing this side, you can see it it's still there, but it's very thin looking. But don't worry about that because there's no connection there, electrical connection. 10 microfarad this one is. Desolder vacuum / desolder pump. Yeah, I've got one. We can try it on the next couple of caps if you want. The reason they don't work for me is one, I don't like the noise. 2, I've only just realised that you can change the nozzle size, which makes a massive difference to using it. And 3, they don't always clear the holes. But I'll show you. I'll use it in a second, show you the difference. Morning, welcome in. Just doing a really quick live stream. I'll have to go in probably not even half an hour. Well, probably half an hour. Just get on with the day. But I figured I'd just show you basically watch me just recapping and have a chat. Just thought I'd jump online while I was doing this. And then I might be on later, but Mondays are usually crazy, so all depends on time. Yeah, and on this side, because, again, the way these caps are with legs only one side, you can see this one I probably want to reflow from this side, just to make sure it's good. There we go, plenty of solder on there. And I'll show you another, well, like I said, there's loads of techniques. I've got about 4 or 5 different ways of recapping, and all different boards have different techniques. This one's working pretty well for the Amiga. It's just a bit slow. So that's the only downside with this. It's a little bit slow compared to what I'd do, but nice and safe on the board. So let's use the desolder pump. Let me show you the desolder gun. And this might do a good job, it might not. Oh yeah, you still got that issue with the, what I could do, it's one of them, I can purposely not stream it to members only. But then it kind of defeats the point of having members only chat, or, yeah, it's one of them. The VOD, though, will be, I guess when you fix it, when you fix the issue, the VOD will reappear for you in the lives. Or, I'll tell you what I'll do. I won't limit the YouTube vertical. I'll just leave that as is, because I have to manually go and alter that. Is this thing on? Yeah. I have to manually alter the YouTube portrait vertical. If I leave that open, you can watch it that way. It's just that you might not be able to comment because it's... Actually, you will. You can even comment because people on stream won't see you commenting, but I will. So I'll see your name and I'll be able to still reply. So that's how we can do it. I'll basically, if you watch the YouTube vertical and you can comment there, I'll still see the comments. That's kind of a workaround. Do I have any Amiga games on floppy? Hundreds, if not thousands. I've got a lot of them in my games room. Maybe I've got some in here. Yeah, I've got them all behind here. Probably could have just turned the camera around to show you this, but actually, I've got a tub full down here as well somewhere. Oh yeah, they're all stuck under things. So yeah, I've got literally. Can this camera? No, it can't. But yeah, I've got loads of them. It's just a few. I just grabbed out of a tub. Got like a boxed one. I've got all the ones where you copy yourself. Got some Amiga OS games. I've got. Just grab another massive handful. See if I've got any genuines in here. Most of the tubs up here are all yeah, they're all like, you know, written yourself floppies. But yeah, I've got tons of them. So we've got like there's the originals, Alfred Chicken, PGA Golf. These ones all, you know, obviously written at the time. But I've got literally hundreds of them. One of the favourites is Rough and Tumble. That's the one I always end up demoing on stream when I fix Amigas. I normally put Rough and Tumble in, and then use a Mega Drive controller. That's what I normally do. Right, so let's have a go of this. Oh, a bit zoomy. Next capacitor. That's this one that's nearly worn off. So this time we'll use this desolder gun. I've got a that's slightly tight tip on this is 0.6, but this is the noise that drives me nuts. And we've got to get the problem here is, you see, the leg's bent. So I can't get this down. I've got to get it over that bent leg, which is the first problem. There we go. Oh, I did the one that wasn't the one I was looking at. But you see there, it's not really done the best job. You know, it's still left bits in the hole. And this is why I don't tend to use this gun so much. Yeah, so that hasn't got rid of it. And it's also damaging, which is the main reason I don't use this. Look how it's damaging the pad. See that? You might not be able to see it, but I can. This light green here is burn, where it's like embedding in. But yeah, that's still attached. That's still attached. So generally, doesn't work that good. Probably more of a skill issue with me. I don't use it that much. Yeah, I do own them. I did like it when I managed to swap the tip and use it for some things, but as you can see there, doesn't necessarily work on the Amiga. It'll take forever to get over all the pins that are bent, like these. It's just more time consuming than it needs to be. And now we might as well fill this back with solder to be able to pull it back out, otherwise the heat's not going to transfer through. So yeah, I don't really use the desolder. I don't use the desolder gun much. It's easier to do with an iron or hot air. I guess that one's out. That didn't feel good though. Felt like it was not coming out very clean. No, it has done, just didn't feel it. And again, the main issue, like I keep saying with these, is on the Amigas specifically, they bend the living crap out these legs when they install them. So they've got all these bends and kinks in, and you have to get that through the hole. So it's very, very difficult to do using like a lot of the techniques that you'd normally use where the legs are straight. Don't really work. I'm in Korea now. I'm in the UK, Milton, Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. What board is this? This is an Amiga 500. And what we're doing is taking the original capacitors out. So these are the capacitors that store energy on the Amiga. And we're swapping them out with brand new ones because as time goes on, they age and get less useful. And worse than that, they leak the electrolyte all over the PCB and rot it, which then makes it worse. So we are basically doing preventative maintenance for the most part. There we go, yeah. Undeniably the best technique for clearing holes on any board. I don't think I've yet come across a board that can resist the micro hot air station. 100 microfarad. Why would you think I'm in Korea? Maybe the hairstyle. I have been to Korea. Obviously, Samsung invested in the last business I had. So I flew to South Korea a few times. for business meetings and stuff. Had kimchi and mainly South Korean barbecue. That's their main deal over there. They love to, when you go over, take you out for Korean barbecue and sake, I believe it is. Very nice people. There we go. Let's put this on. Ooh, in the way. So I think we've got the best technique, to be honest. You can just break the cap legs. You can and you can't, because the thing is, you've still got to get the hole clear of them legs. So even if I break the caps or cut them off, the issue isn't so much the cap being in the way, it's the fact that you've got to get them legs out of the hole and they're all bent anyway. So I think we're onto a winner with this combination of removing and desoldering. It's just a bit casual pace. It's the only thing. The only other thing I'd normally do, which I don't like to do on these boards, because these boards are inherently more susceptible to popcorning. When you see this kind of, the shiny texture, and I have to tilt the board to get rid of that texture, this is kind of a hint to me straight away. These kind of boards, the way this lamination is not very strong, and this lets moisture in, and obviously it can cause popcorning easily. So if I were to hot air these caps out, we're more than likely going to get popcorning. I can try it. I can blame you guys then if I bubble the board. But let me set this to 330. I think this is set to. No, it's deciding go to 480. Go to 330. There we go. All right, so this is at 330. Get my hand under. I think this is the right cap. It's hard to tell where my hand is under the board, to be honest. Right, that feels like I'm in the right position for this cap. I'm going to hot air this. So 330 and 30% air, 80% airspeed actually. And we'll warm this up, and then I'll see if I can remove it easier. The problem with this is I'll probably end up burning my hand as well, because obviously the hot air will travel through the pins, but we'll just see. If this seems easier than the soldering iron, then we'll use this technique as well. This is an Amiga 500. It's an old 1980s, is it? Yeah, I think it's in the 80s. Might be in the 70s, but I'm pretty sure it's the 80s. There you can see them legs freely moving, so you know now you're safe to pull. And the capacitor is hot as hell. Yeah, it's burning my hand. So this is a good technique, but I can't really get hold of it to pull it out. That's the problem with that technique. And I also don't know this way. Yeah, so that would work, but I can't really get the position there to work on it. So let me flip that over, put that back down. And even though that would work, you could see it moving freely. I can't hold the capacitor doing that. The capacitor gets really warm, and then I can't pull it. So to get my tools under there, it just isn't worth the extra time. I think just soldering iron and pull out. And then same on this one. Got the soldering iron on. Let it warm up. And then did that tap come out? Yeah, it's out on the floor. So again, I think we definitely got the best technique still out of all them methods. The only other method would be infrared, warming the board up. This one is 47. Yeah, so we put what model PVM's that in the background? It is a Sony Trinitron. It is, I'm not sure the exact model number, I've got quite a few of them. Got them from an Italian broadcast factory. Let's see if I've got the model number on the back. I should remember, but like I said, I've got quite a few. It's the PVM 14N6E. That one is. Yeah, we could try infrared preheating the board from below, lifting them out from above. But the problem with that is the solder's got to be desoldered. So we'd then have to move the infrared board out the way, clear the holes, move it back. So again, it's just all, I think there's no super quick way of doing the recap on the Amigas. Maybe hot air from above and pulling them out with tools. That might be the next technique. So we'll give that a go actually in a second. That's that one in. Solder him down. 350 in Texas. I reckon all-nighter, Red Bull and all-nighter. You're not going to get... I think if you get less than... what is it with me? If I fall asleep about, say, 11, or say even 10:30, if I wake up at 2, I'm screwed. So 4 hours sleep tend to be screwed. But 1 hour later, 3 o'clock onwards, tend to wake up perfectly fine. So I think you need about 4.5 to 5 hours sleep, realistically, to bother sleeping. Otherwise, don't bother sleeping. At least that's how it works for me. I know if I wake up at like 2 in the morning, it's too early, stay in bed. If I wake up at 3, I'm getting up and getting more done in the day. That's how I kind of see it. Nothing's popcorn that I can see. I think what you saw was this bowing a little bit as well with the air. It like kind of moved a bit, but no, it's perfectly flat. There's no popcorning on that. What you also see on these boards, fairly common, is you'll actually dry out the inner layer a little bit. That's usually right before it popcorns. Is the colour will change of the board. So from dark green, it will go a bit lighter. That's when the inner core is drying out. So you see a colour change right before hot air expands and bubbles. But no, I think we're safe on that. Nothing's gone wrong for us there, luckily. Right, so that's that technique. Let's try then. You can see the problem in this is we've marked them this side. Well, you can't really see from there. We're a bit too zoomed in. But we've marked them all this side. So I really need to do this one and then treat that this side of the board when we flip over hasn't been done yet. Otherwise, we'd have to retrack where we're at. So the only one that we haven't done on this is this one and 2. So these 2 we haven't done yet. And again, the other problem is if we pull focus, these 2 we need to do. You can see part of the problem with this is we have plastic in some areas. So let's have a go at removing this from the top instead. Maybe zoom out a bit. Defo between the prongs, I see a bubble. Yeah, possibly. There might be a little bit of a bubble. What was that doing? Was that the micro hot air maybe? Clearing the hole. Right, so these, normally what I'd do to remove these now is the normal size hot air. So this is a technique I used to use at the very start. Normal hot air, kind of preheat the board a little bit, and then just go in with tweezers like this and grab and wiggle out, basically. And then to clear the hole, I'd actually normally keep the hot air on and desolder pump. So let's do that this time. This is like one of the OG techniques I used to use. And again, the only real concern with Amigas is popcorning. Blowing caps, very rare because not enough heat. Like, I don't blow the heat onto this, I blow it onto the pads either side, mainly. Yeah, so the micro hot air kind of makes sense. It'll be the intense heat on there. We could maybe lower the temps as well. Have a play with the different temps or airflows, because the thing is it needs quite a bit of it needs the airflow to blow the solder out, but maybe it doesn't need the temp as high. And again, some boards are just, oh, there you go, that's a good technique. My first one was probably the best. That's nice and loose. And you can see, even though that's completely loose, it still doesn't want to come out easy. So that's that out. And then while it's warm, yeah, go back to the OG. This is how I used to do it. Now the only thing here, you've got to be careful of this plastic. So if we aim away here, I'm 90% confident I'm not going to melt that. This is already pretty much loose because the other cap has pre-warmed the board. Come in here. Yeah, look at the speed difference. New technique. Well, it's not new, it's my original technique. So turn the micro hot air off. Put these 2 in. But yeah, I've pretty much shown you almost every technique I've ever used to remove and add these caps. They're both 22s. And we have 22s here. Do I fix retro consoles? Yep, definitely do. Thanks for the follow. You need at least 10 hours. Yeah, I'm good on like 4.5 hours sleep. But I don't ever set alarms. I just wake up whenever I wake up. There's literally no. I've got an alarm. It's set for 6:30, but that's in case I'm pretty much dead and for some reason I aren't awake at 6:30. But I'm always down when that goes off. So I think I'm going to get rid of these little stands, to be honest. Now we don't really need them, that we're working the other way around. We also don't really need this cover, but I'll keep it there for now. Actually, no. The cover's going to get on my nerves by dragging around and catching on solder. I'd prefer clean my mat than deal with that. Right, put these caps in. So yeah, this is literally how I always used to do most recaps. It's how we used to do like the Neo Geos and things. And the only thing you have to watch out for doing this is melting things. When you're working from above and you're dealing with all the other components around, you just have to be mindful of certain components, basically, that you don't melt. Like, these would have been more difficult, to be honest, because we've got a plastic connector here, so we probably would have to have warmed them up from underneath and pulled out. So we'll see how we go with this, but yeah, this is how I always used to do the recaps. But like I said, there is no one universal way of doing a recap. I think every system has the best method for it, and also for the location of the caps, basically. Stokey, yep, I certainly am. You can shield, yeah. You can use aluminium foil, aluminium tape. There's many ways of getting the caps off. It's more about the most efficient way. You don't want to spend all day doing the recap, especially when you've got hundreds of these things to do. So it's a balance between risk of damage and getting the job done on every board. So like the safest technique would be preheat the board, probably with a preheater, hot air from above or below potentially, and then pulling the caps out slowly when everything's molten. And then to desolder the holes, I'd use probably hot air at a low temperature, take longer, and desolder pump. But all of that is weighed up against getting the job done and not doing damage, or, you know, that's it. Otherwise, you'd have to charge even more for the work you do. And I've done hundreds of these. Like, Amigas I've probably now done, I reckon, 50 Amigas I've done this year. And again, you bounce between different consoles, so you find that you'll forget some techniques you've learned on some, and you end up, you know, you're not perfect, you're human. You make mistakes and you forget what you do, and then you remember why you did it a different way. So this one, for example, we've got the socket here, the chip here. What you can do as a quick barrier, what I sometimes do if I want to protect that, I've just got this metal scraper. I sometimes just do this and kind of wedge the metal scraper in there, so it's like a physical block of the airflow. So I've just placed this down to protect this black plastic. That's kind of what I do there. Just stops a bit of the heat. So that'll do me for that, and I reckon I can get this cap off with no problem. I've also got to bear in mind that up here there's plastic, so if I want to blow me hot air this way, naturally I'm aiming a bit towards that. There's also this plastic here you've got to be, bearing in mind. So basically there's just plastic everywhere to look out for, and finding the best angle that you like. I want to work like this, but then I'm directly applying heat to that. So probably rotate the board is the best choice for this one. And then try and get in like this maybe. But this kind of gets in your way, so it's almost like, do you remove that and hot air from this angle? I think that's probably safer than trying to point down, so I'm just going to go for it like this, basically. Amiga 1000's not worked on many because I stopped working on a lot of consoles at the start of the year, and computers, obviously, just to keep up, so we didn't really have many in. think I did a few 1000s and a couple of 2000s before we added them, but not many. Most of them actually are Amiga. Well, repairs are mostly 500s, and mods are mostly 1200s. They're like the most popular. There we go. And you can see, is that already even a little bit of bubbling with the board or not? I think so. I think that even wants to move now. So see how that's, even though it's perfectly fine and attached, you can see the kind of deformation there, the little sort of crinkle here, where this is just slightly delaminating. That cap is 47. The best technique for through-hole chips, like these big ones, you can either hot air them from above, lift them all out in one go. You can desolder pump all the legs manually from the underside, or you could preheat the board from underneath with an infrared so that it warms up more evenly from the top when lifting out. Or you could just desolder pump every pin with a desolder pump, or what we're doing here, hot air and a sucker, basically. So next up will be this one, and I think because we've seen, again, you've got two sockets here, so we need to aim up here. We've got a socket here, so really we need to be aiming the air on this one. We've only got one direction we can aim it, and that's up, because you've got plastic here, plastic here, plastic here, plastic here. So we've got one direction we can get this one out. I'm going to lower that temp even more as well, considering we've seen this bubbling again, and we're already quite low. We're literally at 330. We can't get much lower. So I'm going to try 300 on this. And we'll probably preheat the board a bit. To be honest, this is probably the perfect board to preheat, so there's not as much stress on it. Where do I get the caps from? I know factories in China that make our cap kits for us, but basically DigiKey. So if you want to buy Alna, Rubicon, all the good makes, just go on DigiKey, order them in bulk. We also make cap kits for specific computers and consoles. I don't actually do one for the Amiga, I should do. Yeah, just use DigiKey, basically. I get a lot cheaper prices buying in like 4,000 at a time. When I make cap kits up, so you probably, if I sell cap kits, it's probably cheaper that you buy them than even buy them separate. But if you want to buy them separate, just Mouser, DigiKey, Farnell, Newark, there's quite a few places. So put that that Game Boy Pop, SP I put on your desk. Yeah. Plug that flash cart in and turn it on. I'm like, what the hell? It's the flash cart, but yeah, turn it on and see what happens. But no idea. It must have a vibrator. It must have a motor inside of it. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I couldn't believe it when the customer said it vibrates. I'm like, what vibrates? There's nothing in. Those flash carts must have a motor in, and that must be faulty because it just permanently vibrates. I've never seen that before. Yes, this 300 is way too slow. I think we're going to have to go to the 330 again. I think if we get many more instances of it bubbling a little bit, we'll just use the preheater. Because 300 is just too low for like work on. We'll be here all day getting a single chip out. I could do some long nose pliers with a bend on. Actually, these are a little bit short for doing this. Yeah, so 330 is definitely the lowest we can go. An Amiga recap's not casual. It is for me. 100 microfarad. Yeah, the names of the chips are funny. We've got Paula, Gary, Denise. I think, was it in Amiga that was people that used to work in certain departments? That's why they named them for them. Obviously, the Atari Jag, they name him Tom and Jerry, which is pretty obvious what it's for. Yeah, that one worked okay, so let's carry on with that heat. Let's get this one off. Nothing really in this area to worry about, so this one can be straightforward. When we refurb, do we swap them? Yeah, it all depends on the systems and if the customer pays for recaps. If it's like a ready-made system, you know, a pre-bought one off us, yeah, we swap the caps. But if it's customer sending, you've got the option whether you want this doing or not. And the recap's only the electrolytics, so the aluminium electrolytics. We don't really swap the others. These don't leak and don't really age the same way. But if somebody wanted it doing, they can pay for the labour and have anything done really if they wanted to. Amiga 500s, yeah, definitely. Even if you chuck them on eBay, you can just chuck them on eBay untested and you'll get hundreds for them. So yeah, definitely worth keeping. It's worth restoring as well if you wanted to use them again. You can just buy, if it works, you can just buy an off-the-shelf cable, an RGB SCART cable, and then an OSSC for £100, and you can plug it straight into a HDMI TV, so you can get it straight without any kind of custom work involved. Sending off for mods, you can get these things straight onto HDMI if you like. That one is another 100. Yeah. Do we understand everything on this board? Most of it, yeah. When you work on them, when I first work on them, I don't know much, if anything at all. And then if you've got schematics like this one does, spend time studying the schematics, looking at how it works. Basically, from just working on them and fixing them, you kind of build your knowledge up. But yeah, the Amiga 500s, I've got quite a lot of knowledge on now. So I know what most of the stuff on this entire board does and how it brings up. If you want all that info, it's just on retro6.wiki. I give away all that knowledge on that website if you wanted to kind of see what I know about them and learn yourself. So what have we got left on this? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 caps left, 5, one down there. Yeah, so not too bad. So we've got this side of the board basically. We'll go down to the bottom, do this guy next. So just this one by the 68K CPU. Now this one is right by that plastic here, like literally right by it. So I'll probably, I might just prop this up and just on this filter for now. There we go, filter works good for that. Just kind of prop him up like that. I'm going to warm this one up from underneath just because that is right by the plastic. How many years have I been doing this? The retro, I think about 7 years now. The hardware side. Done it years before, on and off, but not much. Like probably for 15 years I've done it on and off. But not really. Didn't do it for like a good 7 years, much at all. And now in the retro we do it obviously quite often. How are you melting the solder with that heat gun and not damaging the board? Gain your temperature right, basically. So I've got this set to 330 Celsius, which is just enough to melt the solder. And obviously keeping the hot air moving, the distance right. Just all about technique, really. If you leave the hot air on for too long, you'll 100% melt or bubble the board. But yeah, just practice and technique. The Amigas are one of the worst for it though, because the board's so weak. You've seen already a couple of these traces want to move and a tiny bubble on one of them, so that they are very weak boards. I don't think they're FR4 fiberglass. I think they're just like more the, well, no, I think they are fiberglass. They're just a poor composite version of it. That one's 100 microfarad as well. Easier way to melt the solder. Yeah, we've done it at the start of the stream. I don't know whether you joined in a bit later, but there's loads of techniques. They all have their advantage. This one seems to be working the best for specifically the Amiga because the legs of these caps are bent when they go inside. So like if I grab one of these, you can see how they bend all the legs. There's like 3 bends on that. So if you're trying to remove them, they're quite stiff to remove. So if you use a desolder pump, you can't get the desolder pump over them pins because they're bent. If you use a soldering iron, that's what we're doing at the start. That's probably the second best technique. That works fine. But this hot air is a bit quicker. Like we've seen the process, and generally this is quicker. This isn't actually a hard technique at all. This is one of the main ways I do the recapping is with hot air. Yeah, I think is it eutectic you're saying? Eutectic state. I don't think that's the point at which it melts. A eutectic solder is basically when it's a composition of alloys. So this solder has lead, tin, maybe a little bit of other things, maybe a tiny bit of silver. And the eutectic point is basically when you have a mix of all 3 compositions, so all 3 alloys, like the copper and the lead, all melting at the same point so that the alloy itself, the solder, doesn't solidify at different rates. So obviously most solders are made that way now for that reason, so that you don't get cracking and warping and other things. Right, so we've got this one left, this one left. Oh no, we've got 4 left still. We've got him, and then 3 big ones for the power. Actually, they're not for power. These are for the video outputs. Those 2 are video outputs. This one is power. And this one is just decoupling. Actually, no, this will still be bulk capacitance. Plastic-wise, we want to point sort of up here. We've got plastic all around there, and there. So, yeah, plastic everywhere on these ones. Literally, all 4 chips there. Well, all 5 chips have got plastic on, so I'm going to kind of aim over here. I think it's the safest. Fake hair, no, it's real. Yeah, Motorola, that's right. The 68K processor. It's an Amiga 500 Plus. This one, so the one with the 1 meg of RAM down the bottom. And obviously the clock cap that leaks everywhere and destroyed this chip that we fixed. Yeah, no, definitely real. Fake hair. It's going to come back in style one day. Yeah, you can DM me. You can either send a message however you want. I don't check the socials that often. You can email contact@retro6.co.uk. You can jump on discord.gg/retro6 and message me there if you want. This one's 100 as well. Currently troubleshooting audio on an old GBA. Clean out the audio jack, reflow the pins. When headphones are plugged in, it's super quiet, thinking the volume will replaced might do it. Yeah, if you want to get a multimeter and measure the middle pin of the volume wheel to ground and turn it with, turn the volume wheel while you're measuring your probe on ground, any ground you want, like say battery ground, and then the middle pin on the GBA wheel. If you turn the wheel, it should go from about 0.4 volts all the way up to, I can't remember, 3, 4, 5 volts, somewhere in between there. If that's working, if you're getting that adjustment, it's not the volume wheel. Right, I've got 3 big ones left, so same for this one. We're gonna what we're gonna do with him. It's quite close. I'm probably gonna do. I'm gonna go back to. I don't know, just hot air him out from the underside. Yeah, I think we will. Yeah, I'll do this one so that we go to the top first, closer to me. And we'll warm these last 3 out. Yeah, the Commodores. Again, I didn't, to be honest, I got some, I kind of had a spurt of C64s in, and then it kind of died off. I don't think we're really known in the Commodore like C64 side of things. We're definitely known for the Amigas. We get plenty of these. But Commodore 64s and things like that, you don't see many of. And to be honest, almost all of them are just bad chips. Like, so the custom ICs on them are bad. And then you effectively have to use donors, so it's not really worth it. Yeah, I'm from Stoke. Why with hot air? If you watch the start of the stream, we've tried multiple methods. Hot air is by far the best for this one. Quickest way of working, gets the caps out clean, and we've had no issues. I do loads of recaps like this. If you use a desolder gun, you're going to tear traces. If you use the soldering iron, it's harder to initially remove them, takes longer, and clearing the holes takes longer, and you also rip pads. Likelihood of ripping pads is higher. These Amiga boards are really fragile, so the less you touch it with a physical iron, the better. You just got to get your hot air temps right. You can see this being a big cap and heavy planes here. It takes longer to get this one warmed up to remove. So I might crank the temps up here. Just for these big ones, I'm going to crank this temp up a little bit. Just go to like 380. Ham radios, no, I have worked on them. I did a few on TikTok. Probably started this year, but we don't work on that now. Anything that's not on the website, we don't work on anymore. We just don't have the time, basically. Right, now it's getting there. I'm going to go from the other side of this and actually warm up. What you wouldn't normally do is warm up the actual cap because it can pop, but I think the top side of the board needs a little bit of heat transfer now. For the last stage, get right under the cap. And then go back under. And I'll probably, considering this one's taking its time to come off, I'll probably put some leaded solder on the next couple. There we go, that's out nice and easy now. Yeah, so given that one took so long to come off, that's 1,000 microfarad. I will put some leaded solder on these next connections. Yeah, all self-taught, everything you see me doing. All self-taught, basically. Lipos, swapping the bare cells. No, just be careful if you're going to do that, basically, because if you accidentally short them, you can just discharge 100 amps in an instant. So you can literally arc things. They don't really explode as such. I mean, they technically can, but they rarely do. It's just mainly you want to make sure you're working safely with them and don't accidentally join them together. Probably do it outside if you're unsure. To be honest, I'm just going to try and warm this up with the iron direct heat on this one again. Like I say, the different caps and different sections of the board will work better with different techniques. I've got a feeling this one is going to be much better. Just trying to pull this cap out with that's hot. Just with my hand. Yes and no. No, I think just flood it with the leaded solder and then back to the hot air, I think is still the best technique. If you strip me that other PS2, I did one other. I think I'll put on your desk. If you strip me the last one, I'll put that HDMI on. But don't know what you've got to put it on.
Well, it's already stripped for you,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll do it in a minute. I'll finish this. Uh, 3.7 in series. No more. It's more about the capacity so much as the voltage. The voltage isn't the issue. It's if you got a lot of capacity, I wouldn't do it. But like I say, as long as you don't touch the leads together to create a circuit, you've got no issue at all. But yeah, probably just do it outside, because the worst thing that happens is you want to be really careful. Just put gloves on, glasses, or even a bloody face mask on if you wanted, like a plastic covered face mask, and do it outside on a stone. And then literally all that could happen is it release some smoke and bit of flames. But if you're on outside and nothing can catch, that's the absolute worst situation. When you've got gloves and a face mask, nothing can really happen. Oh, I'm warming the wrong pad up here. It's the left and right pad, not the top and bottom. So I probably could have got this out with a soldering iron, maybe. But that's come out pretty quick anyway with just adding that leaded solder, I think, to the joint. It's made it quite easy. Means the solder pump's not keeping its click anymore. Oh, geez, touch that metal as well. It's metal over here is boiling. Service I offer, I would normally, but we're, like I say, we're that busy these days, we've stopped taking on all the kind of custom one-off jobs, because I literally get emails 5 to 10 times a day. I've turned down about 3 people this morning. We just constantly get requests for stuff we can do, but stuff that just we don't really have time to do. So I would normally do, but like I say, we kind of put a blanket stop on that in January. Stop working on random stuff, because we just end up getting flooded with other work, and then don't keep up with orders. We've already got like a 4-week lead time on the current orders, so we really can't be taking on more work. So I think we have one left. Yep, we just got this dude left, and then they're all done. So let's try now. Would the soldering iron have worked if I was actually desoldering the right pads? So let's go for this one. Have you got 1,000 microfarad cap in your kit? I've run out of all of them. Well, I've got another kit, but got none in this kit.
Go forward to
No, like the aluminium ones, the actual biggies. Okay. Just about works. Yeah, that's struggling to pump the heat through the other side, that is. So probably still, I think hot air is still the best technique for this. Yeah, we'll go back to hot air. So I think we've figured out pretty much the best technique for everything. Everything on the Amiga 500s is the hot air and just getting your temps right. These bigger caps need 380, and all the other caps we go off quite easily at the 330. Custom orders, we haven't really. We contemplated turning them down over 2 years ago, and we kept accepting them, and then we got up to like 200 things in, like 200 repairs, and we were absolutely flooded. So we made the decision the start of this year to just say we need to stop accepting everything, like hands down, no matter how easy it is for us or no matter how much we would want it, just stop accepting stuff that we haven't got the time for. Because I'm a bugger for going, oh, I could do that. Oh, yeah, and I'll enjoy that, and I'll take the work on. And then before you know it, we end up with way too many people asking for exactly that. And as soon as they accept one, the word of mouth just spreads, and then we just get more and more people having more and more work. So it's one of them. We have to have a hard stop to say we're not going to work on other stuff, because, like I say, we've got I do software as well as this business, so this isn't just my only business. I do houses, I do software, and I run most of this business as well. We don't have many people in this business now, so a lot of the stuff you see is done by me. So I'm not just sat in this room all day. I probably only get 2 hours, 3 hours in this room a day at best. And that's normally done 5 in the morning. So yeah, it's just making sure I don't spread myself too thin, really. So this is the last cap in, and we've done a full recap. I don't think we've had any issues with delamination or bubbling since the very first few, where we were using the micro hot air to clear the hole. And I think that's only been an issue and it'll only really be an issue on the Amigas or boards that are very susceptible to popcorning, which I know this one is. Otherwise, I've used that micro hot air to clear holes really successfully so far, and no issues on any other sort of PCB. So again, it's just getting to know your actual PCB, really. I think we are all done. Hey, welcome in from Norwich. I was on Homes Under the Hammer again. Yeah, they play that randomly. Sometimes it'll be like every week for months, and then you'll see nothing, then they'll stream it after. But yeah, I normally know, because all my socials will start blowing up and saying, I've recognised that voice. They kind of recognise me from here and realise I'm on Homes Under the Hammer as well. Right, so that is the recap all done. That's all I wanted to do, like I say, just a nice little casual recap. And now I'm going to crack on with PS2 HDMI work and the general work of the day. I don't know whether I'll be back on later, may or may not be. I've been on Homes Under the Hammer about 3 times, maybe. And then I think they just don't like doing too many of the same people, because obviously you just get too recognised on there too often. So we've done loads of houses since then, but I don't think they really want to keep doing the same people, basically. Turn that extractor off now. And probably then clean up this desk. PS1, it's next up on the list to do a PS1 clean power. People are asking. You can, but it's really you'd have to know what you're doing. You could basically use a Dreamcast clean power, change some resistors to change 2 of the voltages to get you there. Can't remember what it is, like 7.5 volt and some other volt. that you need for the PS1, and then hand solder the connector. And it's a lot of work. I'd just maybe wait for ours to come out. It's pretty high up on my list to do because we do quite a lot of PS1s. And obviously I've got one myself and I want to kit it out with my own stuff. So it's coming, but it isn't just out yet. Just haven't had time to make it. But it'll basically be the exact same hardware design as the Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn. Now I've got this new design that can handle ridiculous amounts of power. Like literally 100 watt, which is 10 times more than the PlayStation uses. I can reuse the exact same known working PCB design to regulate the voltages clean from the Dreamcast and the Sega Saturn to all the other consoles like the Xbox original, PlayStation 1, all that good stuff. So making the new products is only a case of physical fitment, really. Getting the cables, getting the connectors, making it physically fit into the product. So won't take me that long, basically. Were there any uncrackable Amiga games? I don't think so. They obviously tried loads of different techniques. So they had, well, to be honest, I don't know why I'm pretending to explain like I know that one. I actually don't know how the Amiga did the copy protection fully. Not something I've really looked into much, and I didn't use or can't remember the Amiga things as a child. I was more of the newer systems where I got into it more. But no, I think pretty much every Amiga game got cracked almost. A lot of them had like code books where where the game had come with like a physical book, and then part of the game would say, type in the letters on page 7 of this book, sort of thing. Others had something on the floppy, I can't remember. Some protection physically on the floppy when you attempted to read. I don't know whether they did like custom drivers or they did quirks to corrupt data when you tried to just read it in a normal way. But obviously like Xcopy and things managed to bypass all of that, I think. But yeah, not a super expert on the Amiga side of the protection. Main benefits of a clean power in consoles. The clean power is all about making sure the power is super stable, very low ripple on the voltage, and then can handle mods as well. So a perfect example of one of these, and this is pretty much on the page. Let me pull up this. If you go to say mods and parts, Game Boy, Clean Power, this is one of the very first ones they ever made, and you want to know what's the benefit, you can literally watch this vid here, and this will go through. If I mute this, this will literally explain to you and show you exactly the purpose of Clean Power and why it's good. I don't know whether we can click the link here to skip so we don't have to watch it all. Yeah, there we go. So if we skip in, you can basically see this is me measuring the original. So this is an original power board with just it's got an amp or a screen, but you can see that big spike there, that massive dip should not even exist. That's the original, and it basically cuts off. So I kind of show that, go through, there's the original power board with how bad it is. So you can see that voltage is crazy. Like you shouldn't even see anything, and that's like a 1.2 volt or 2.2 volt dip. When you put our Clean Power on, then do everything, max out the volume, max out the screen, and zoom right in, you get absolutely no ripple. So that's like zoomed in to 100 millivolt per massive square. So there's like 10 millivolt ripple. There's absolutely nothing. And then if you compare it there, the main view, that line, the white line there, is where the original power supply was dipping in voltage, and the top line now you can see ours doesn't even move off the top line. It's completely stable. So it's all about being able to support mods and extra current, as well as actually making sure the voltage itself is clean and stable, because most of the retro stuff isn't. And that voltage dropping all the time can cause chips to wear out more, generate heat, all stuff like that. C64 cartridge is repairable. C64 cartridge, yeah, they did cartridges. I was going to say it's mainly floppies I know of, and tapes. But you're on about actual, the cartridge at the back, like where you plug in the C64. Some of them can be, mainly just clean the pins with a pencil eraser to start with. And then you can reflow the pins inside with solder if not, if they get like worn out. But yeah, should be repairable unless the chip itself has died. Right, guys, I'm going to crack on. That's the recap done anyway that I wanted to show you, so you can see how it's all done. I'm going to get on with the rest of the day, and I'll catch you guys tonight or tomorrow.